So when I first started quitting porn, I came across a couple of studies, and it basically said if you change the stuff around you, you will have better habits. Basically, for example, if you set your room up in a way that you can work out more to be able to do push-ups and lunges, I would be working out more. Versus when I set my room up in order to have my computer in the best place possible, I played more computer games and I worked out less. So the way you change around the furniture, the bed, the table in your room, your habits will slightly change automatically. To have, let's say, a workout place inside of your room where you can do, for example, a push-up, you're more likely to do a push-up. Now, this is not the only reason why you should change your environment. Also, if you read into Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, he talks about control and control over your own actions, basically self-discipline. You need to control your own actions, and the way you can achieve that is to take control and take ownership of your immediate environment and of your own body. So for example, if your room is a mess, you're more likely to be disorganized, but if you clean up your room and make your bed, you are more likely to be organized. And this way, if you consistently do this, your willpower will just automatically increase because you keep doing stuff for yourself and you will love yourself more and you will be more disciplined that way. You need a lot of willpower in order to quit porn. So how do you change around your room specifically for quitting porn? Well, I would recommend to try to move any type of furniture where you watched porn. So for example, if you watch porn in bed, try to either move the bed around, or if you can't do that, just flip it around, like so the head is the other way. If you watched porn on your computer in front of your table, make sure that the table is at least facing a different direction or at a complete different position in your room. And what you will notice is you will not just have less urges to watch porn, but you will also be less willing to binge on YouTube or do other bad stuff around those places at the start. Now, obviously, as you allow yourself to sometimes, let's say, watch a couple movies on your computer, that's what happened to me, then it will again become a place of bad habit, but it will not become a place for porn unless you allow it to be. The environment that you occupy is a big thing, but you are also something that counts. If you're struggling to get to your first, let's say, 15 to 30 day streak, or you do longer streaks but you are constantly barraged, you are constantly hit left and right with urges, for example, making things harder like putting some pants on, not just walking around in your underwear, it will help you on the short term because you have to release an extra layer of clothing in order to watch porn and ejaculate. However, in the long term, this will have a negative effect because your discipline will be lower. And when you eventually find yourself in a situation where you don't have these tools engaged and you only are in your underwear, or let's say you're not wearing any clothes for a short period of time, it will be extremely difficult. It will be so much harder to resist the urges versus if you just did the normal thing and didn't care about making watching porn more difficult to do, because the difficulty isn't going to solve the problem. You can use porn blockers, you can wear an extra pair of pants, and you can be around other people. But all these three things are making it easier for you on the short term to quit porn and making it more difficult in the long term not to relapse back into porn, because by adding these extra layers, the extra clothing, the extra people around you, the porn blockers, you will rob your mind of the discipline training that it needs in order to deal with these situations. And when you don't have your porn blockers, when you don't have anyone around and you don't have any clothes on, you will struggle to stay out of your urges, you will struggle to not relapse. That's why I do not recommend you to try this unless you're extremely down bad and you are completely feel like you're addicted. Then of course you can try it and get some longer streaks. But once you reach streaks that are more than 1 or 2 weeks, you should stop implementing these changes and switch back to normal. So what is normal? do not use any porn blockers. If you type a website's name, if you type a porn actress's name or a porn actor or a porn award show or a fucking, I don't care, it's your fault. And no amount of porn blocker will ever save you from relapsing. What it will cause is you will have less willpower, you will have less discipline. So do not have any porn blockers. Number 2, having many people around. This is a no factor. You should be able to resist porn even if you're alone, because eventually you will find yourself in a situation when you're alone for days and your mind will throw the idea of, hey, should we watch some porn now? Nobody can see. It will throw that idea at you, and then you will have to resist that urge for the first time ever, therefore making it so much harder than if you have gotten used to this urge before and now it's not a problem. And the same thing, of course, with wearing clothes. I mean, you wear whatever you want. If it's super hot, for example, like here, you can just be in your underwear and it shouldn't really impact your impulses and it shouldn't impact your urges, because it doesn't matter what you are wearing. Bro, you just need to quit watching porn. That's the point of this. These are like, these tiny details aren't really going to make the difference, because in the short term, they might help. They might be a psychological advantage into doing a pattern that you think is going to be beneficial, even if it's not necessarily beneficial. But in the long term, what you do is you enforce this pattern and you say, okay, if I do this pattern, I'm going to have a good time and I'm not going to relapse. But you're also saying with that, if I don't do this pattern, I will have a bad time and it will be easier for me to relapse. Instead of these habits, instead of these patterns, what should you implement? You should implement new habits that are self-improvement focused. Working out, meditation, journaling, and breathing exercises are an excellent way to make your mind less stressful, make your anxiety lower, and in general, make your well-being just that much easier without porn. Because sure, when you quit porn, the first few days are going to suck and you might be a little bit depressed or on the edge, because you want your cookie back, you want the thing that made you happy, that made you feel all these great feelings back into your life. Unfortunately, the same thing that causes those feelings is fucking up your whole life. Now, I have not talked about hygiene. Obviously, if you don't have proper hygiene, you need to implement those habits as well. How do you keep track of these habits? Is by downloading a habit tracker and printing it. And you can find one in the description down below. I linked mine, which is the one I use, and you write down a habit and you always mark the days that you do them. And that's how you track your habits effortlessly. And you should do it once a day, every morning or every evening, and that's it. But next part of changing your environment is your social and physical location. I remember when I quit my first streak, I was around day 25 or day 30, and I started to realize that the environment I was living with my family, it was a little toxic. It was making me feel bad. And I wish I knew what I'm going to tell you now, because it would have made everything so much easier. If you live in a family environment that's making you feel bad, basically, any type of bad feelings like anxiety or depression, anger, anything like this, or it makes you despise those that are around you, you need to change your physical location during the day, which means get out of the house, go away. So what practical ways are there to do this? First of all, you should check out the local library. If you have any studying to do or you want to do some work and you don't have a workplace to go to, a physical location, you should hit up the library, get a library card. It's like super cheap, at least where I'm from in Hungary. And you can just work there basically 8 to 10 hours a day and spend time there. But let's say you don't have a library near you, or you don't want to go to the library every single day. So obviously you should seek out nearby parks. When I was, watching porn, I just didn't feel like going out like ever. And you will be able to focus so much better when you're not at home, and you will be procrastinating less, and your mental well-being will improve. You can go to the gym in the gym, you can go to the sauna at winter or when it's cold outside, when it's not sunny like right now, it's 40 degrees Celsius. But in the winter in Hungary, it's always cloudy, always, every single day. And it's like not super cold, but it's a little cold. I go to the sauna, I sit there for 20 minutes, and when I come out and I start going home, I feel the sun shining inside of me. It's an amazing feeling, and it really, really helps if you feel a bit down during winter, if you have SAD, which is seasonal affective disorder. Also, you can rent an office. There are these sites, and they're in every major city. You can rent office space where you can work. It's similar to the library. I like the library more, especially in Budapest, because they have like these historic libraries. Yeah, it's awesome. And also, if you don't have a job or you're a student and it's summer, let's say, you should get a summer job or apply for a summer internship.